Hi, it's Steph. This is the first full episode after coming back from covering the Olympics in Tokyo. So it's an episode about entrepreneurship and breaking the mold, sport, leadership, community, mission, and impact. Today's guest is Julie Uhrman. She's president and co-founder of Angel City Football Club. Her knowledge and energy come through when she speaks, and you will be inspired by her no matter what aspect of the mission most resonates with you. Julie's been named one of the 100 most creative people in business by Fast Company and one of the creative 50 by Ad Age. Previously, she served as EVP and GM of over-the-top ventures for Lionsgate, building and managing the company's multiple streaming franchises. In 2013, she founded and was CEO of OUYA, a pioneering Android-based game console for the living room, which raised a record-breaking $8.6 million through Kickstarter, and then went on to secure venture funding from Kleiner Perkins and Alibaba before selling to Razer in 2015. Now, Julie's attention is on Angel City, a team that is brand new to the National Women's Soccer League, or NWSL, and launches play in 2022. Beyond soccer, they say they are a brand on a mission to make a difference in this world. You'll hear Julie speak more in depth about their purpose and how it is their North Star. Real quick before we start, a special thank you to those of you who support the podcast on Patreon and for helping me keep this going. You can be a patron too for a monthly $1, $3, $10, and up, whatever feels good. Visit patreon.com/anotherdooropens and select an option there. If you subscribed, rated, or reviewed on Apple Podcasts, thank you too. I value hearing from you because you guys, this podcast is for you. It's about opening our hearts and minds to people, ideas, and the world around us so that we can all live our lives with a little more ease and grace, care more, judge less, be better humans. I'm Stephanie Hamango, and this is Another Door Opens. Here is my guest, Julie Uhrman. I'd like to start by just asking a broad question, which is, what do the words "another door opens" mean to you, if anything?
It means opportunity. It means that you put yourself in a position that gives you opportunities and choice. I tell my kids all the time to make themselves available so that they have the choice, that they're in control. And so that's what it means to me.
I love it. You are the president of Angel City Football Club, and together with a group of other high-profile people and investors, I really feel like you all are opening a new door. And while the name might seem obvious, for those who haven't heard about Angel City, what is it and why is it unique?
It's a great question. Yeah, Angel City is a new women's professional soccer team that's coming to Los Angeles in 2022. But that's probably the most simple way of looking at us. We have actually built Angel City to be a platform that stands for more, an organization where mission and capital can coexist. And in order to build an organization differently, we had to build the team differently. And so as Angel City sought to bring women's professional soccer to Los Angeles, it was founded by 3 women. So Natalie Portman, the actress and activist, Kara Nortman, who's a venture capitalist here in Los Angeles at Upfront Ventures, and myself, which is a gaming and entertainment executive. We came together to really challenge the way professional sports teams are built, which is typically handed down from generation to generation in families, or more commonly with private equity companies, but typically, older white men who have, a significant amount of money that want to invest and build something, where the majority of the teams don't make money. And that's globally in sports. And that's mostly the way that they are structured, from having to build facilities to having, salary expectations that are significantly higher than what the revenue can generate. And they really then rely on TV revenue and expansion fees to make a difference in their financials. Mm-hmm. So the 3 of us, Kara, Natalie, and I, sought about building Angel City really differently. We knew we were doing something that was bigger than the game. We knew we wanted to build an organization where mission and capital could coexist. And we knew we wanted to lead with purpose and make a difference in our community. And so to do that, We sought to raise money like we're a startup, establish goals and milestones, increase the value of what we're building, and bring in supporters, investors along the way. We have decided to make purpose, core to our DNA so that every single time we do something, it's not just for the club, but it's also for the community. And that comes across in our sponsorship modeling. It's going to come across in how we bring ticketing to our community. But the idea that we can utilize our platform and utilize our voice to make a difference for young girls, for the world of soccer, and for women in general.
I love that you kind of have sort of this duality of the startup scrappy mentality and also the really polished, big gravitas mentality that all of you bring with your experience. It's like a mix. It sounds like a mix.
It is. And I think that's what has made Angel City successful to date, is that we're not veterans of sports teams and, are stuck in it only works this way, or we tried this 5 years ago and it didn't work, or this is the way to look at the world. Because of our different backgrounds, venture capitalism, entertainment, media, gaming, we really think about fan engagement and how do we bring that fan closer, both to create an incredible experience, let's say on game days, but also, 365 days a year when there may not be a game, or you may be an Angel City fan, but don't live in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And then we also think about truly the product that we're trying to create and look at it from a lens of impact. So if we are trying to have a positive impact on the community, and as we say, set higher expectations, how do we bring that to life through the actions that we take, the team that we assemble, the players that we put on the pitch, our engagement with the community, and to be able to build Angel City into a platform to amplify all of that, but then also very thoughtfully use the platform and the reach of our investors, whether they're celebrities or athletes or media executives. We believe we can just make a bigger impact because we have the ability to present this to more people. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully, to what you said, having people follow. We were really intentional that we wanted to really sort of outsource our playbook and let anybody use it and build upon it as we go. There were no, women founding groups. There were no, professional teams that were thought of as like a startup. So there was no roadmap for us to follow. Mm-hmm. But we think it's been a really sort of interesting, exciting way to do this. And we've already seen it pay forward, which is so incredible. So Kansas City, which has acquired a team this year in the National Women's Soccer League, they adopted our sponsorship model, which is we give 10% of all sponsorship dollars back into the community through assets, product donations, or cash. We've seen other women athletes invest in NWSL teams. So Naomi Osaka invested in the North Carolina Courage. And she said one of the number one reasons she did it is because she saw Serena Williams and Billie Jean King, who are investors in Angel City, invest in us, and didn't even know that that was possible, and then sought out her local team and made an investment. And so it's incredible to see more women get involved in management and ownership of teams, and then just the business model of thinking bigger also have impact with other teams.
It's so cool. How far along are you in developing the player roster and coaching roster for Angel City Kickoff, which happens in 2022?
We started in October of 2020. Our first hire was Kim McCauley, who is head of analytics and recruiting, to start to put together a database of players, both locally and nationally and globally, as we think about what type of roster we want to put together based on the type of coach we bring in or the type of sporting director. So we started doing that research, almost a year ago, so that we would have this incredible database of talent that we can pull from. Our second hire was Eni Aluko, who is our sporting director. You can sort of think of her as the GM of the soccer side of the house. It is her strategy and philosophy that we want to develop over the coming years. She is responsible for hiring the coaching staff and making sure that the product we put in the pitch is reflective of Angel City's values, as well as, a winning product for our community and fans. That hire happened early summer. We followed that with Angela Hucles-Mangiano, who is actually an owner and a former U.S. women's national team player and two-time Olympian, but she has come on board to head up player operations and logistics for us. So we talk about setting higher expectations, and that is also as it relates to developing players. So we don't want to just make them the best and develop them on the pitch, but we want to do it outside as well. So what are the tools and resources and education they might need to help grow them? And that could be media training, PR training, financial literacy, mindfulness, and meditation. So we're putting a whole sort of curriculum around the whole player. And then it's just been a process, right? Interviewing coaches, finding a coach that really complements any skill set. Any is a former English national team player. She played for Juventus and Chelsea. She has a very global mindset of soccer. So bringing that international experience, how could we pair her with somebody that has great US experience and even better NWSL experience? And so we're thrilled that we just announced our head coach for Angel City, Freya Combe, who comes to us from Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. This is her second year that she's in the league, has a sort of a winning mentality on the field, but really knows the league and the current players, to really support what Annie's trying to do in building a global team as we bring in sort of international players as well. And we announced Robbie Unberg, who is our assistant coach and head of performance director. And then we're just going to keep going. We have, a little bit more of the coaching staff to build out. We're starting to make player announcements and trying to put that lineup together. It takes time based on, international soccer schedules, who's available, who wants to leave their team. And then in the US through the NWSL, we have the opportunity to pick up players in December through the expansion draft, which will be for us and the other team that's entering in 2022, San Diego, run by Jill Ellis, the former head coach of the U.S. Women's National Team. And then in January, we'll have the NWSL draft with the remaining 10 teams in the league for incredible athletes that might be coming out of college or elsewhere.
All of that just tells me this is happening and this is real.
It is happening. It's real. I mean, look, I've been working on this since August of 2019. We announced the club and our intentions publicly in July of 2021. And we've really spent most of the last 9 months building the community, building our brand, living our values. We talk about when Angel City does something, it's both like a provocation and a proclamation. So we don't want to just say we're doing something. We want to show we're doing it also with every step in the way. And I think that's one thing that really makes us unique, and that we're not having discussions about the trade-off between, well, if we do this, impactful element for the community, we're going to lose money. Or if we do this thing to drive money with sponsors or ticket sales, there's no impact for the community. We built Angel City, so we look for the lens to do both at the same time. So when we announced Angel City in July, we also announced our partnership with the LA84 Foundation and the Play Equity Fund to use sports as a way to address social injustice in Los Angeles. When we announced our first sponsor, we launched the Angel City sponsorship model, where we give 10% of the sponsorship revenue back into our community through our social impact platform, which has 3 pillars, which are equity, essentials, and education. When we announced our seat deposit campaign, which is going on right now, we partnered with Nike so that for every seat deposit that we sold, we would donate a sports bra to a young girl in need, because we learned early on that one of the number one reasons young girls stop playing games is because they can't afford a sports bra. Wow. So we wanted to try to solve that, and Nike came on to be a partner with us on that. So that's what I talk about, where we want to have impact as we're building the club. And it's just been a process, and also, working within the timeline again of global soccer and NWSL schedules. Some of the soccer things have taken longer, but it's very real. It's getting very real.
It's very real. And to your point about the process, I can't help but think, what do Abby Wambach and Natalie Portman think of this, this train that everybody is on right now? Because I think the origin story of Angel City is very interesting. Would you mind briefly sharing how the story began?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started with Natalie Portman. She was a very early founding board member of Time's Up, had the opportunity to spend time with the U.S. Women's National Team players and a woman by the name of Becca Rue, who is the executive director of the U.S. Women's National Team Players Association, as they were embarking on their pay equity lawsuit against U.S. soccer, and spent a lot of time with them learning about the sport, how the women were being underpaid for, the same work and better performance. And during that time, she also heard Abby Wambach talk about life in retirement. She won an award at the ESPYs with Peyton Manning and Kobe Bryant. And, they're talking about where they're going to spend their hundreds of millions of dollars and all the opportunity they have. And Abby, who's just as successful, in her own career, is trying to figure out how she's going to pay her mortgage.
Right.
And the combination of those two things really struck Natalie, where she both wanted to learn more about why this is the way it is. And then she wanted to find out a way to help. And so the first thing that she did publicly was in 2019, there was a U.S. women's national team friendlies match here in Los Angeles. It was also the 20-year anniversary of the 99ers. So the 1999 team that won the World Cup that had Julie Foudy and Mia Hamm on it. And so she went to the match here in Los Angeles wearing U.S. women's national team jersey, and some of her friends wearing, the Time's Up, Pay Up t-shirt. And she brought with her friends, which we are so fortunate to say are now also Angel City investors, which include Eva Longoria, Jessica Chastain, Jennifer Gardner, Uza Aduba. And the amount of attention they got for supporting the game and showing up and taking a stand, I think was really surprising. And so Natalie sort of took the next step, which is, well, if that drew so much attention, how can I make even a bigger impact on the sport and women's sports and, provide, like you said, a pathway for others. And then it was like, well, I need to have a seat at the table. We should have a team in LA. Kara Nortman was also an early supporter of Time's Up and their friends and was around for a number of these conversations and even symposiums that the players had. So they had this idea to, after the women won the World Cup in France in 2019, get serious about figuring out how to bring a team to Los Angeles. I've known Kara for, 15, 20 years. We both grew up here in LA and actually played basketball against each other. That's our sport. And in the summers, we play in this quote unquote wild feminist women who tech basketball league.
Oh, fun.
And it was August 19th and Kara had just come back from the World Cup and was telling us about her amazing experience in these players. And, knowing that I'm an entrepreneur and I love to build things and I love sports, pulled me aside and told me about her idea that she and Natalie had and really recruited me to figure out how to make this happen. I haven't looked back since.
Wow. I've been involved in sports in some fashion all my life, but never soccer. It just wasn't available back then where I grew up. And I want to tell you my reaction when I heard about Angel City. I read about Angel City and I felt electrified. The idea was also novel to my brain, and that shocked me and disturbed me. And I digested it a while. And when I had the chance to tell my partner, Eric, about it, I got choked up in the telling. And I thought, what's going on here? Why am I emotional about this? And I thought about that and I realized it was not only that I was grateful for and inspired by the moves you all are making. I was sad that the notion had never even occurred to me before. Then I wanted to own a team too. That is not realistic for me right now, but I was like, okay, one can dream, because all of a sudden, I think of myself as a person who's aware or involved or dialed in. And I shocked myself when I realized it had never occurred to me to have a majority women-owned team.
Yeah, I think that goes back to the first question you asked me, which is, what does it mean to have a door open to you? And that's what we did. The benefit of being an entrepreneur, which I consider myself, is that I am consistently doing things that have never been done before, right? Or bringing something to life that doesn't exist, and then making sure there is a strong product market fit, and then bringing a community or a fan base or consumer base together to actually convince them that they need something they didn't even know they needed.
Yeah.
Right. And so the idea for me of building Angel City as a startup, building it with purpose, and building it with a majority female ownership team, a majority female management team, a majority female team, wasn't daunting because I'm so used to doing that in my career. But now the idea that, like you said, you now are inspired to own a team or to invest in a team. And now there's a pathway to do that with, how we have structured Angel City. There have been other teams within the NWSL have taken additional investment after we launched, similar in fashion to how we have, which is to say bringing in a group of influential people whose reach and presence and voice is more valuable than the check size they've written, because that's what it takes. There is a significant amount of support for women's sports. And finally, the data is starting to get out there. Just this last weekend, you saw the largest viewership in a WNBA game with over 755,000 viewers. Amazing. This wasn't a playoff. This wasn't a championship game. The data that came back from Olympics, more gambling was done on women athletes and women teams than men in the Olympics. So the data's there. It's just that more people have to know about it so they don't feel like they're taking a risk or they're doing us a favor, right? By investing in women's sports or investing to show women's sports. When we talk about setting higher expectations, we also talk about, challenging the status quo, and breaking through barriers, because we want to be able to prove that what we know, which is there's a significant amount of upside in women's sports. There is a significant amount of upside in women's soccer. These players are literally the best in the world. And there is significant growth when you give it more visibility, when you give them better time slots, when you give them, better networks to play on. This is going to grow. And having a team of people at Angel City that understand the value of content development, understand the value of amplifying, your quote unquote assets, which we believe are our players. We recognize that fandom has really changed recently. And when I say recently, maybe in the last 3 to 5 years, where you used to just be a fan of the team that was in your market, right? If I grew up in LA, I'm a fan of the Lakers, the Clippers, or, and by the way, I'm a fan of Trojans, right? But today, you're a fan of the players first. Then you're a fan of the team. Then you're the fan of the league. So if I'm a fan of Alex Morgan and she's playing at OL Reign, well, I'm going to buy an OL Reign jersey from LA and I'm going to be a huge fan of hers. And if she moves into play for Angel City, I'm now a fan of Angel City, right? Because I support her. And so the strategy, for these teams has to shift to really support and amplify what the fans care about. And that's something that we really understand and we're working to build internally with this incredible network, which I also think it's going to change the game too. It's not Angel City first. It's players first. Actually, for us, it's purpose first, players second, Angel City third.
If someone asks you on the pay side of things, how will Angel City and the team's investors and players be able to attract fans and buzz and bring people to the stadium and generate money so that there's great pay and great payoffs for the players down the road? How do you do that?
Yeah, we fundamentally believe in pay equity and are going to work every single day to strive towards that. We recognize that can't happen overnight. So we do think about how do you compensate these players in the right way for the impact that they're making and the value they're bringing to the club. So we are thinking through programs to support that, in addition to, as I mentioned, sort of the development of the players that we're working on as well. But as far as, getting fans, look, we've been really honest that if you want to see players get paid more, this is a business, right? And it truly actually starts with the fans. If the fans buy tickets, right, the teams get revenue. The fans then go to the games. Now, not only are the teams getting, concessions revenue and parking revenue and maybe even merch revenue, but you're getting the media companies that are broadcasting these games to now broadcast games that have sold out crowds, right? That have 20,000 fans. Now, when I go and negotiate with the media partners, for our next, media rights deals, we can ask for more money because we have a bigger audience. Having more fans and having a bigger audience also helps us as a club go and have conversations with brands who want to partner with us, right? The bigger our audience is, the more valuable our audience is, the more that we can generate from those partners. And then in Angel City's case, return to the community. So we are all part of the solution that we want, which is pay equity for women's players. We all have to work together to do that. And that's why literally for the last year, Angel City has worked so hard to build a community of like-minded people that, believe in our purpose of setting higher expectations, who want to build a club differently, who care as much about the W's on the pitch as the impact we have in the community. I flew up to Portland yesterday. There were people on the plane wearing Angel City masks and hats.
Oh, they weren't with you. They were strangers.
No, we ended up we ended up having meetings at Nike, which is a global sponsor for the league, and they're not fully back to campus yet. So we got this incredible tour, and it was only 6 of us. There were 2 people in front of us on this ginormous campus. One of them turns around, was wearing an Angel City t-shirt. No idea who she was. So it's working, finding people that, believe in what we're building, excited about women's soccer, excited about what we're bringing to Angel City. And we work really hard, every day to live up to our values and make that impact. But to be successful, we need everybody. We need the fans, we need sponsors, we need the media partners. We need to develop a robust licensing business, not only for the team, but, the players, as well as what the league puts together. We just have to show that this can be commercialized. And in so doing, demand the value that we deserve. These are not handouts. We're not asking for favors. There's growth in our numbers. There's growth in the league through expansion. There's growth in followership and support. And we need to go and, demand the money that this represents. Angel City is doing that, and we're doing it very successfully, but we need the rest of women's sports to do that as well.
Your own background is deeply entrenched in entrepreneurship, as you said, and innovation. And I feel like Angel City is innovative. And so I wanted to ask you, what aspects of your own personal and professional background do you feel most well prepared you for your new role with Angel City?
Well, I don't take no for an answer. and I'm really comfortable with hearing no. So, it's this combination of, my mentor would say that I walk through walls, and then there's just the having this thick skin. So when I hear the word no, what I really hear is not now, or what I hear is something didn't resonate. Being an entrepreneur and spending, a majority of my life trying to raise money, I've realized a couple of things. First, that it's a lot easier to say no than to say yes, significantly. And so you have to give people a reason to say yes. So you have to find out what part of your message resonates with them and connects with them. Sometimes it's the size of the market, right? Sometimes it's the opportunity. Sometimes it's your first mover advantage. Sometimes it's your business model. Sometimes it's your team. When I hear no, it means that I didn't connect in the right way. But I've also learned that just because somebody says no doesn't mean I have a bad idea, right? I mean, ultimately they could just not be the right fit. And so it actually forces me to work harder to understand, if I'm so passionate about something and am I excited and I think this is a no-brainer, the translation is everybody should. And if I'm not hearing it, then something's off with the messaging. And it just makes me work even harder to figure it out. The second thing that I've learned as an entrepreneur, which sounds, really obvious and people say it all the time, but I really question when anyone has actually been in this situation to live it, which is the trust your gut. As an entrepreneur, you are told, hire people that are smarter than you. Surround yourself by people who know what they're doing, right? And you inspire them and you give them the tools and the ability to be successful, and you'll succeed. But what happens when those experts' opinion, strategy, decision conflicts with your gut, right? You hired them because they know more about something, and yet they're making a decision that you don't know why it's wrong, but it just feels wrong. And that's a really difficult situation to be in, because you're empowering someone to make a decision who fundamentally, by definition, knows more than you.
Have you gotten faster at noticing your gut and paying attention to it and taking pause when it shows up?
I have. The pause part is actually the key. It's just taking a beat to really listen to it and to try to, it's almost justify to yourself why you think you're right. And then also very quickly, and I think entrepreneurs are good at this, run through the consequences of that decision, right? If you trust your gut and you're wrong, is that high, medium, or low, type mistake, right? And to be able to do that trade-off really quickly. I think I'm one of those people that can make decisions without 100% information because I trust myself. I only need, 50, 60, 70, 80% of information to feel confident making a decision. I'd rather make, fast answers than draw something out and be wrong. But the trusting your gut is really important. And what I learned from one experience was I'd rather be wrong trusting myself than being wrong, having someone else have the decision and then obviously being right? Because I can't blame that individual for their decision because they're an expert and they, use their best guess. So I can't blame anybody, right? And it's a very frustrating situation. If I make the call and I'm wrong, I can blame myself. I can own it. I can grow and learn from it. And I am more comfortable with, the results of that. And so I realized I'd rather, if my gut is wrong or if I'm wrong, I'd rather just be able to learn from it, be mad at somebody, right? Which is myself, take a responsibility, take accountability and move forward. Right. And so, the walking through walls, having thick skin and trusting my gut has played incredibly well in building Angel City because, like I said at the beginning, I come from an entertainment, gaming, media background. I don't come from a sports background. So I don't have 20 years of experience building a sports club or watching someone else build it or being a part of it. So there are moments in time. I feel like I'm incredible using resources. I'm incredible using my network. I'm incredibly collaborative. I will, if I have the value, benefit, and the time to ask 50 people their opinion on a decision I have to make that's not in my wheelhouse, I will. But, I feel that everything that, I've learned by being an entrepreneur has just allowed me to, do this job in a way that I'm really proud of every day.
And you've been an entrepreneur in a number of different industries. You mentioned gaming, but I heard you also had a background at a laundromat.
Well, we consider college a background.
Yeah,
when I was a freshman at Washington University in St. Louis, my twin sister, myself, and two of our friends bought the on-campus laundry and dry cleaning service. The last thing I wanted to do was do my own. So if I owned the company, I could easily justify to my mom that, I didn't have to do my own laundry at campus. So we bought Wash You Wash and ran it for 4 years. And then in addition, the summer of my freshman year, we launched a storage company. We only did that 1 year because it basically ruins the end of your school year and the beginning of your next school year.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's moving in and out.
Yeah. And it's like, saying goodbye to your friends or saying hello, like that wasn't fun. And then junior year, the same four of us entered our business school's business plan writing competition, which we won, which was actually a kids retail store, kids and moms retail store. So my stepfather was an entrepreneur. He instilled in us, my sister and myself, the idea that, you want to work for yourself. You want to be in control of your own destiny. You want to make the money. And so I've really always gravitated towards opportunities where, I had the ability to control my own destiny.
I imagine that over the course of your years of entrepreneurship, you've been in a lot of meetings, boardrooms, conference calls, coffee shops, whatever it might be. How is the experience at Angel City different?
Purpose. I mean, we built this organization to be something, again, where like mission and capital come together, where they coexist. I have never, ever done anything where I think is hard about the money we need to make or the fans we need to impact as much as the community. We don't make a decision that doesn't have a positive impact on community, on young girls, on global soccer, on women. And so everything we do is more impactful and it is more meaningful because you're not just, trying to run a profitable business, right? You're not trying to just create an entertaining product. You're trying to have impact while you do those things. And it is beyond rewarding and it drives all of us. It's like this unspoken drive that my entire team has because they know the impact of what they do is so much bigger than just whatever the score at the end of the game will be. So I would say that's, the first thing. The second thing is I've been able to build this incredible team from scratch. We've got 35 people if you include, our intern army. We probably have closer to 40 people if you include our incredible street team. We have 3 guys. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't intentional. Like we're a women-owned, women-run, women-founded company. We're going to hire women. Like I went out to hire the best people I could find, and I just have this incredible team of men and women who are dedicated and committed and excellent at what they do. Someone asked me the other day, what's it like, to have a team of majority women? Like, how do you get anything done? Right? And she was chuckling. And, I said, well, here's a typical meeting. An hour meeting is 10 minutes of messing around and joking and like gossiping, right? And then it's 40 minutes of the most efficient, effective meeting I have ever had. We'll leave 5 minutes early because we've got it all done. And I have never once in, the 18 months that I've been working in Angel City, sent a summary email of what was discussed, followed up with anybody about what their deliverables needed to be, followed up because somebody missed a deliverable, or followed up because, communication didn't occur to sort of other team members. They needed help to get something done.
Everyone's just doing it.
And I've never experienced that in my life. Yeah. Wow. When someone says they're going to do something, I move on to the next item, and I don't have to micromanage or follow up or check in. And it allows me then time to like focus on what I need to do, or the growth of Angel City, or helping any, close contracts for players. It frees up my time to do my job and not have to make sure other people are doing theirs.
That's amazing. And as far as the community outreach, this is about a lot more than making soccer more accessible to people, isn't it? I mean, you mentioned social justice. You mentioned percentages going out into the community. It sounds like you really want to create deep roots with Angel City in LA. Absolutely.
So when we established the Angel City sponsorship model, we developed our social impact platform. It has 3 pillars: equity, essentials, and education. So when we partner with brands, we work with them to lean into, their purpose and what's important to them and their community to fit within these 3 pillars so that we can come to life. And so equity can mean pay equity for the players, but it could also mean supporting female-run businesses or supporting businesses that are underrepresented and don't get, opportunities as other businesses. And so, in that vertical, by way of example, one of our sponsors is Therabody, and we partner with them in Kiva.org, which does micro lending, companies, individuals that have a hard time getting loans the traditional way. And we launched the Angel City Impact Fund, and we're funding female entrepreneurs in Los Angeles together. The second pillar is essentials. And we actually think about this in 2 ways. First, it's, do young girls have everything they need to be able to play the sport of their choice? And maybe in our case, soccer. But that means, do they have food? Do they have transportation? Do they have shelter? Right? Like, if I can't get to the practice pitch, it doesn't matter if there's a practice pitch 2 blocks away. Right? If I'm not getting, if I don't have access to food, it doesn't matter if I'm, the next Carly Lloyd. Right? And so with DoorDash, who's our front of kit sponsor, we are focusing on food insecurity. And with Sprouts, who's our back of kit partner, we're focusing on nutrition and wellness, and we're building gardens and schools with them. The second part of essentials is access to, fields that are secure, access to camps and clinics and clubs, and getting school programs that you can play the sport if you want to. With Gatorade, who's one of our newest partners, we're working on developing pathways for female coaches. With Cedars-Sinai, our healthcare partner that we just announced yesterday, over in 2022 alone, we're doing something like 20 plus soccer clinics for young girls around Los Angeles together. And then lastly, our last pillar being education. This could be around teaching leadership skills and teamwork skills for young girls, coaching development for women, education as far as nutrition, wellness, mindfulness, meditation. I mentioned some of those partners. We're doing that, but our sleeve partner is a company called Birdies, which is a direct-to-consumer fashion footwear line. And with them, we launched a mentorship program for young girls. And so we just concluded the first part of this. It was a program called SOARS, SOARS, and we brought in 3, BIPOC women, 2 that are juniors going into their last year of high school, and 1 who's a senior that's going into college. And we developed this mentorship program that was both with Angel City and with Birdies. And so they work with us for over 3 months. Then they put together a final presentation and what they learned. And so it's not just about soccer. It's not just about building soccer in Southern California. It's about having a positive impact in our community via equity, essentials, and education. So it's, gardens at schools, it's access to pitches, it's access to food, it's supporting female entrepreneurs, it's developing pathways for women coaches to get to the professional level. It's about having impact and striving for equity.
I just love how comprehensive your approach is. And I just am imagining, what if this could really, 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 really multiply and, to your point earlier, become not only national, but global? Imagine the impact.
Yeah. Well, that's our hope. We're starting locally, but our aspirations are to be a global brand, because as a global brand, you can have more impact. And, we stand for equality and impact. We want to set higher expectations that doesn't, start and end, in Los Angeles. Very early on, in partnership with LA 84 Foundation, this is back in October of 20, I don't even know what year it is anymore. In 2020, we did an equipment drive distribution with the Mar Vista Family Center. So getting, equipment and just, bringing joy to some kids' lives. And we partner with an organization called Parks, which, donates soccer balls around the world. And so we partnered with them and brought, their product here. And for every, soccer ball we gifted, we donated one as well. So we want to have impact globally, and are just obviously thoughtful about how we roll that out and who we do it with.
It's so great. Your enthusiasm for it is contagious, and I love it.
Thank you.
I have one more question I want to ask of you, but before I do, I want to ask where people can go online to learn more about Angel City. If someone wants to invest, is that a possibility? And how can they support the team and find you on social media?
Yeah, we would love to have everybody support Angel City. And again, you don't have to be a ticket holder to support the club, right? You could buy merchandise, you could, retweet and repost what we do to bring in other fans and other supporters. So Across all social, we are Angel City.
Okay.
Online, it's angelcity.com. You can buy seat deposits today, which puts you in line to get season tickets for our inaugural season in 2022. And with each seat deposit, as I said, we donate a sports bra to a young girl in need. Even the other day, we had somebody put in a seat deposit for 4 seats. And when we talked to them on the phone, they said, just so you know, I'm not based in Los Angeles. I want you to donate these tickets to youth soccer players that wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. And we absolutely can do that. And we absolutely will do that. If you go to the website, we have subscription products that you could become, a member of Angel City and get value, even if value is relates to access and discounts and whatnot, even if you're not, local to Los Angeles. As far as investment, as I said, we're a startup, right? So as we continue to hit our milestones and our ambitions grow, yes, we will absolutely be raising more money and we will absolutely be looking for new investors. The biggest thing on the horizon for us is we want to build a dedicated practice pitch and training facility for our players and build community pitches around that so we can give back to the community. So that's something that we're working on in hopes to deliver not only for the players, but for the community in the next couple of years.
Incredible. You're so energetic and you have so much information and it's like I said, contagious.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The last question I just wanted to ask is what advice do you have for people who want or need to break the mold?
I think it's about not being afraid. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it can't be done. My mom would always tell my sister and I growing up, she'd quote this saying, which was, she didn't know it couldn't be done, so she went ahead and did it. And I feel like that sums up my life really well. But it's twofold. It's, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it can't be done. And just because it's never been done the way you want to do it doesn't mean it can't be done. People get stuck in their ways and we wouldn't be as technologically advanced if we weren't consistently breaking molds. And so it's about having confidence in yourself and conviction in your idea and realizing that a no is really just a not now. And maybe you need to do a better job of figuring out what the real value is or what makes that person tick to get to a yes.
I can't wait to see what happens with Angel City. And Eric and I have already decided we're going to be in the stands this year.
Oh, I can't wait. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I should say next year. 2022 is the kickoff, right?
Correct. April 2022.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and all the best to you.
Thank you.
As I said earlier, I don't have any experience with soccer, but this team has me fired up. Their comprehensive thinking and representation and purpose really has me wondering what our world would look like if this model multiplied, coupling a benevolent and empowering mission with capital. You can find Angel City again online at angelcity.com and follow them on social media at We Are Angel City. I'll be posting a few pictures related to this episode on my social media pages, like always. So follow on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Himango and at PodcastADO. If you want to, take a second to share this episode with someone and rate and review it on Apple. To my Patreon supporters, thank you again for believing in the power of story and supporting the show. If you're interested in becoming a patron too, you can go to patreon.com/AnotherDoorOpens to find out some of the options there, starting at $1 a month. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Those Another Door Opens drum beats were made by the amazing Eric Brown. And that is this week's episode of the Another Door Opens podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Think about how you can practice opening in your life today, and I'll do the same. I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.